Welcome. Today we're going to go through a fiery core class. You don't need any equipment at all. However, I am going to bring in some weights and a yoga belt. So if you've got those things and you want to grab them, please take some time to pause the video and go and grab those now. Before we get started, if you could click subscribe, that would really help me out. And without further ado, let's get on to it. So if you can lie on your back, we're just going to get warmed up through some nice isometric holds. So laying down nice and comfortably on the mat, we're going to find our tabletop legs. And then I just want you to tuck your knees in a little bit higher, a little bit closer to the chest, and hold. We're going to take deep breaths here. So breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Start to lift head and shoulders, tuck smaller, and keep breathing. 2 more breaths here, starting to really build up some heat in the tummy. And then gently relax head and neck and relax feet back down. So we're going to do that again, but we're going to add in some leg extensions. So drawing the knees back in towards the chest, draw them in tight, lift head and shoulders, and breathe. Extend left leg and breathe. And again. Switch to right leg, breathe twice. Both knees tuck in, breathe 2 more times. Relax head and shoulders and relax feet. Lovely. This time we're going to take a double leg extension. So join me in your tuck position again. Tuck knees in tight. Lift head and shoulders. Find that nice fire in the core. Breathing here. Extend left leg, breathe. Extend right leg, so you've got 2 legs pointed, and breathe. Keeping the rib cage nice and close to the hips. Withdraw left leg, keep breathing. Withdraw right leg, tuck in nice and tight, hold for me for a little bit longer. Keep breathing there. And relax head and shoulders and relax those feet. Just take your knees side to side for windscreen wipers and get some rotation into the lower back there. Lovely. So that's our little warm up done. Now's an opportunity to grab some weights if you want to grab your weights. We're going to lay back down onto the mat. We'll take the weights into a nice overhead reach position to start with. So taking 2 arms up and overhead. Now in your overhead reach position, we don't want to get lazy and relax the weights to the floor. We want to keep them elevated away from the ground. Retract the shoulders and then think about softening your rib cage as well, because it's very easy to lift and flare the ribs. So we want to soften the lowest ribs, the bottom rib, down towards the hips. Then we're going to start to sit up. So taking your weights forward, hinge your rib cage closer to your hip bones. Just gaze above the knees there, keeping a small gap under the chin. So we're going to lay back for the overhead reach on the inhale, watching for rib cage placement. Exhale, you're going to sit forwards, just gaze above the knees. Inhale, lay back. Exhale, forwards, sitting up, gazing above the knees. Inhale, laying back, keeping the ribs soft, keeping shoulders active. Exhale, sit forwards, look above the knees. Inhale, lay back. Exhale, bring it forwards. Inhale, lay back. Exhale, sit forwards. Let's go for 4 more of these. So keeping the shoulders active, keeping the ribs soft as we lay back. And then hinging from the bottom of our rib cage as we sit forwards and peel off the mat. So another 3. Inhale, lay back. 2. Inhale, lay back. And 1, we're going to take it back again. And this time we're going to start to point to toe. So as you sit up, see if you can just point your toes so your thighs are parallel with one another. Inhale, lay back. Other leg, exhale. Inhale, lay back, overhead reach. Exhale, sit forwards, point your toe. Inhale, lay back. Exhale. We've got 6 more here. Still thinking about keeping the ribs soft when you go for your overhead reach. Thinking of hinging from the bottom of the rib cage as you sit up to meet your pelvis. Keep it up. Keeping that plum or that peach pinching underneath your chin so that you keep the front of your neck active. We're going to go for one more. Okay, I lied. We're going to go for one more and we're going to hold it. So when you're ready, lift up one more time and hold. There you go. Get your sacrum nice and heavy in the mat and start to slowly pulse your leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Lay back. We're going to come up to the other leg. So come forward, sit up, point your toe, find your stable pelvis, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Not rushing. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Lovely. Taking that back. And you can just pop the weights down for a moment. And we're going to hug one knee up towards the chest, lengthen one leg to the bottom of the mat for a little bit of a stretch and a loosen off. Now you can start to open this knee wide away from the midline of the mat and then take it across the body for a little bit of a spine twist. So you can start to move that knee and hip open and closed just to give you a little bit of relief. And then we're going to change legs. So hug one knee in, straighten one leg out. And again, maybe continue with this opening and closing movement through the hip and the knee. Okay, and bring yourself back to your Pilates rest position. So for the second part of this sequence, we're going to grab both weights or just a single heavier weight if you've got one, and we're going to work with some overhead reaches. So I'm going to bring my hands together here and I'm going to start to take both weights overhead. Now, as we spoke about earlier, you want to try and keep your ribs soft rather than ribs and chest lifting off the mat. So keep the back of your rib cage nestled into the mat and the bottom ribs softening down to kiss the pelvis. And then bring the weights back out in front of you. So we're going for a double arm overhead reach, just working on our rib cage placement. That's it. Let's go for maybe 3 more of these. Lovely. Really working on keeping that rib cage connected close to that pelvis. That's where we're going to get that deep core work. This is where we're going to feel a little bit of an ache tomorrow. Good. Let's go for another one, and then we're going to repeat these in the tabletop legs. So as you bring your weights out in front of you, take a moment to set each knee directly above each hip, engaging through the core there. Starting to take the weights into your overhead reach again, keeping the rib cage connected to the pelvis. We're here for about another 5 here. That's it. And again, we're not taking the weights all the way to the mat because I want to keep your shoulders nice and active. We don't want the weights to just kind of flop and relax onto the ground. Good, let's go for a couple more. Nice. We're going to start to add in a leg extension. So as your weights go into overhead reach, you're going to point a toe away. Good, inhale back to center. Weights to overhead reach, point a toe away. Inhale back to center. Lovely. Keep that up, alternating each leg. As you take your leg away, try and keep your sacrum firmly in the mat. So we're not allowing our pelvis to tilt forwards and our lower back to go into a back bend. We're keeping that gorgeous neutral lumbar that we work with, and we're keeping that lovely hip stability. We'll do one more like this, and then we're going to try for double legs if you want to ramp it up. I'd brace your legs together, so you have them side by side, and then go for double leg and weighted extension. Inhale back in. Exhale. Inhale back in. So on your exhale, you're going for your long extension. That's the hard work. You can probably hear my voice shaking. Let's go for 3 more. Maybe you're shaking with me. Keep squeezing those legs together. It will help you to brace. Draw your pelvic floor up as you send your legs long. Good, last one. See if you can draw that pelvic floor up as you send your legs long. Wonderful. Bringing limbs back in and resting back to your Pilates rest posture. Next, let's bring ourselves up to a seated posture. And if you can grab some sort of strap, belt, that would be great. It's entirely optional. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. It's just here to make sure we hold our arms nice and wide and help with some structure through the upper body. So I'm going to take that just around my rib cage, under my armpits, and hold it fairly tight there. I'm going to come to sit with my knees bent. If you find this really tough, you could sit your bottom up on a block to make things easier, or even just straighten the legs out if you prefer that. So we're going for a half roll back with an oblique twist. So for half roll back, you want to start tall on the sit bones and then just let your pelvis tuck so you find your sort of coccyx sacrum area. And then we're going to start to roll back a little bit more. So you're arching your spine. We're keeping a rounded shape here, scooping in through the lower belly. And then we're going to take a twist. And then we're going to just gently come back up in one tall movement up to the sit bones. So we'll inhale, tall spine on the sit bones. Exhale, round to the sacrum, rounding the back and twist to one side. Inhale, back up, tall, ribs towards knees. Exhale, round to the sacrum, twist the ribs. Inhale, tall. Exhale, round to the sacrum, twist the ribs. Inhale, tall. Exhale, rounding, twisting. Inhale, tall. Exhale, rounding, twisting. Inhale, tall. Let's go for 4 more here. Rounding, twisting, maybe a little smile as well to help you get through. And again, rounding, twisting. Inhale, tall. Try and keep those knees hips width apart so that we're not opening or knocking knees together. And inhale, tall. And exhale, round, twist rib cage. And bring it back up tall again. Take a little breather, give your shoulders a bit of a roll out because it's quite hard work holding your shoulders out for that long, but hopefully that felt really, really good on the obliques. So we're going to run through that sequence again. You know exactly what's coming. We're going to just race through it. So you can pop your band to one side, grab your weights if you're using them, and we're going to lay back for our overhead reaches with our pointy toes. So laying down in your Pilates rest position, let's start by taking our weights into an overhead reach, keeping the ribs soft, and then coming to sit up as you take the weights forwards. Inhale, overhead reach. Exhale, sit up, take the weights forwards. So remember, we're trying to keep that small gap under the chin. Each time we sit up, we are taking our bottom rib to kiss our hip bones. Just gaze above the knees, keeping shoulders nice and active. Good, let's keep going through this sequence. So you've got 3 more, and then we're going to start to add in the pointy toes. So that's a 3. Inhale, lay back. 2. Lay back. 1. And we start to add in a pointy toe on each leg. So inhale, lay back. As you sit up, point your toe, thighs parallel. Inhale, lay back. Exhale, pointy toe, thighs parallel. Keep it up. Lay back, keep the shoulders active. Reach forwards, keep the peach under your chin. Good. So this brings in a little bit more fire to each side of your core here as we add in that leg extension. Doesn't look like a lot, but it really starts to kick in. You can start to feel that quite effectively. Just here for 2 more rounds then, and then we're going to go into our leg pulses. Remember, they're going to be really controlled leg pulses so that we keep the torso and the pelvis nice and steady. So we're coming into those now. Let's sit up, point the toe, and steady. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Lay back, overhead reach. We come up for the other leg. Point your toe, steady. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Lovely. Bring it all back down. Have a moment if you need to take your windscreen wiper knees, or perhaps you'd like to hug your knees into your chest just to give your back a little bit of a loosen off. And we're going to go into the second exercise of the sequence, which was 2 weights out in front of you into the overhead reach. So we've now got plenty of weight drawing up and overhead there. and then just bringing the weights out in front of you. So really thinking about rib cage placement on this movement. So keeping the ribs nice and close towards the pelvis, overhead reach, and bringing the weights in front of you. One more of these, and then we're taking it to tabletop legs. So next round, let's bring these knees, stack them above the hips, and continue overhead reach with the weights out in front of you. So I, for this one, would personally like to exhale as you go for the overhead reach, because that's where most of the effort happens. General rule of thumb, exhale on the hard bits. Trouble is sometimes with Pilates, all the bits are hard, but as I suggest, exhale on the overhead reach if that works for you. Let's start to add in a single leg extension. So as you take your overhead reach now, point your toe, inhale to center, other leg. Remember about trying to keep the sacrum nice and heavy in the mat, so that as the weight of your leg travels forwards, you're not tempted to roll the pelvis forwards. This way we keep our lower back in its neutral position rather than going into a back bend for the lower back. Again, you could start to think about drawing the pelvic floor up as you stretch the leg away. We've got 2 more on the single legs, and then we're going to go for doubles if you want to. If it's too much, if this is getting a little bit too fiery for you, stick with singles or stick in tabletop legs. Let's go, double legs. Inhale, together. Exhale, find length. Inhale, together. And be sensible with your range. You don't have to go really low with arms and legs. I'd rather you keep your core strong and your back safe, get the control before you get the range or the speed. If you're feeling like you need to rush any element of this, maybe make it a little bit easier, because we should be able to move with control. Let's go for 3 more. And to center. 2. And to center. And 1. And to center. Wonderful. Pop those weights down to one side, and let's come to sit up, ready for our oblique rollbacks. So again, if you were using that strap, if you found that helpful, grab your strap and bring that into play. We're going to sit nice and tall on those sit bones, nice and tall through the spine, crown above tailbone. Find the nice length through the arms, shoulders settle down away from ears, and we're going to roll back to that kind of coccyx sacrum area and start to take a twist through the ribs. Inhale, bring rib cage up towards knees. Exhale, roll back, twist ribs. Inhale, tall. Exhale, roll back, twist. Inhale, tall. Exhale, roll back, twist. Inhale, tall. So you're rolling off the sit bones, back to the sacrum, and then back forwards to sit bones. Good. Let's go for 4 more here. You've got it. 4. Inhale, tall. 3. Inhale, tall. 2. Let's savor this last one. And tall, lovely stuff, well done. Pop that down to one side. Just as a little finisher, we're gonna grab those weights again. In fact, you only need 1 weight really for this. So choose a weight, and we're gonna find a plank position. I'd recommend quite wide feet for this plank. So taking your body back to plank, nice wide feet for a nice base of support. Press through the fingertips there to give you good support through the hands. Now we're gonna grab the weight, and we're gonna row this back so the elbows going to pull up towards the ceiling. So when you're ready, tuck that tail, squeeze your bum, squeeze your thighs, and we start to row. 1, 2, 3. We're only going for 5 here. 4 and 5. Good job, really tough. Swap hands. So plant those feet, squeeze that bum, tuck your tail, engage that tummy, and we draw back. 1. Draw the elbow back. 2. And 3, and 4, and 5. Lovely. Pop that weight down, drop to knees, take it back to child's pose. So we're going to take 2 more rounds of that final finisher, this plank with the rows. Remember, wide feet to help you with stability. And you're going to try and keep your hips and your trunk as centered. as you can. I know it's very easy as you take one hand off to shift the weights to the other side of the body, okay, to help with that support. We're gonna try and keep our body as central as we can. It's tough, let's have another go. So taking those feet nice and wide, tuck the tail, squeeze the bum, drawing through the abs, take your weight and you're gonna row that elbow back. 1, 2, trying to stay as centered as you can. 3, 4, 5, good. Swap hands. Again, tuck that tail, squeeze that bottom, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, drop the weight, take it to the knees, back to child's pose. One final round of that. We're just doing the 3 sets. So really good job. Final chance to try and keep your bottom and your spine as close to the middle of your mat as you can. Let's take it, let's finish off then into that nice wide leg plank. Squeeze the bottom as you tuck the tail, drawing through the core, grab your weight and row back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lovely, and swap hands. You are nearly finished. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, dig in, 5, and relax that back down. Take your knees to the ground. Take your lovely child's pose position. Maybe come to rest your head if that feels comfortable, or maybe rest head on hands and just take a few deep breaths there. Let your heart rate come down because that was intense, that last set. Just take some deep breaths, get some oxygen into the body, and just let the heart rate slow. Taking your slide forwards then on towards the tummy, and we're just going to finish with a gentle cobra stretch. So onto the forearms, and just start to peel the spine away from the mat. Draw the shoulder blades down and see if you can open your collarbones. So find width across the chest, width across the front of the shoulders. Just gently tuck your chin so that you're pinching that peach or that plum again to find length at the back of the neck. Take a deep breath. Trying to push your chest forwards to the front edge of your mat so your chest comes through your shoulders. If you want to go a bit deeper, feel free to come and place the hands somewhere either side of the chest. You can always adjust if they don't feel like they're in the right position, and take a higher cobra. You don't have to straighten the arms and try and get as high as you can into a back bend. We're actually trying to draw the shoulder blades down and push the chest forwards. And as you push your chest and your ribs forwards, you should find the front of your tummy lengthening and elongating there. So we're trying to find that length in the tum. And then gently relax back down to the mat and bring yourself back up to a seated position. So thank you for joining me for that spicy core workout. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next class.